Marie-Louise von Motesiczky, or Pete's as she was called in the family. She was a great presence. Rather scary and alarming presence sometimes in our family life, arriving dressed in astonishing drama, often with a great fur coat or a fur hat on her head, and bringing with her this whole extraordinary sort of background of Vienna and émigré life. There was all that. There was also a sort of contingency, a self-deprecation there. She wasn't short of extraordinary supporters in her life, but they were all émigré supporters. They all came from Middle Europe. Within British life, I don't think she felt heard or seen or understood.
Marie-Louise von Motesiczky grew up surrounded by her family's art collection, which was mainly traditional works of art, 19th century paintings. She was quite unique in choosing Max Beckmann as her artistic model. Most of her compatriots would have found his work perfectly hideous. So when she became Beckmann's pupil in 1927 at the Stellerschule in Frankfurt, she became part of the avant-garde. And so she studied with Beckmann for a year and then came back to Vienna and painted. She also worked in Paris and in Berlin, and then found her own style, emancipated herself from Beckmann. And by 1933, she had overcome her reluctance to show her art to the public and took part in an avant-garde art exhibition, the Hagenbund exhibition, with a balcony, which is a fantastically revolutionary artwork showing herself in the nude. She painted that with the help of a big mirror on the balcony of the family estate in the Vienna woods. That would be her habit for all her life, using mirrors in many self-portraits.
She would arrange a still life of flowers on a table in front of her easel, and she would place a mirror behind it. And I think that that was a way of distracting her from the over-familiar objects that were too close. I think that she had very successfully mastered the art of telling stories about herself.
In der Hinterbrühl, da war dieser Besitz und dann ist man Tennis spielen gegangen. Tennisplatz haben wir zwar gehabt, aber ein bisschen Tennisstunden. Und da war immer von Weitem ein Rufen von Leuten, die marschieren. Sieg, Heil, Sieg, Heil, Sieg, Heil. Und das hat mir so einen Schrecken eingejagt.
Marie-Louise von Motesiczky and her mother left Vienna the day after the Nazis walked into Austria. They traveled via the Netherlands and came to the UK in spring 1939, first living in London and then to escape the Blitz in Buckinghamshire in Amersham.
Something, in a way, wonderful happened when they moved to England. The traumatic uprooting of their lives and coming to England was invigorating for Marie-Louise, and numerically speaking, the pace of her work increased after emigration to the UK.
There's a fantastic painting called Still Life with Sheep that Marie-Louise von Motesiczky painted in a hotel in Holland, just as she had left Vienna in the spring of 1938. And she had happened to take 2 Chinese cloisonné 18th century sheep with her. She put those sheep on an ironing board, covered it with a piece of cloth, and that was the still life. She took inspiration wherever she found it and loved to include objects, for example, that reminded her of absent friends or lost family members, or a lover that should not be named, so that only she would be able to decode. So they're full of little secrets.
What's interesting for me is the way in which the things that did survive and did come with her get repositioned in her life. And that by painting them, she's allowing them some kind of agency.
When Marie-Louise came to this country, met Elias Canetti, a writer who came from Vienna with his wife, because he was also Jewish. They had a relationship that lasted all their lives, but it was never out in the open because, of course, Canetti was married. Canetti was incredibly important for Marie-Louise von Motesiczky's artistic development because he supported her wholeheartedly. He commissioned quite a few paintings, organized commissions, for example, a portrait of Iris Murdoch. It's an incredible portrait which critics didn't like necessarily because Marie-Louise didn't beautify or idealize Iris Murdoch. And Iris Murdoch loved the painting, saying, "It's me with the demons, how did she know?"
One thing about Marie-Louise, about Pete's, was that she was completely fearless. She would stop people on the street and demand that they became her models.
Marie-Louise was always looking for people she could paint. And certainly at that point, when she was in her 80s and she was not going out as much, it was nice for her if people were willing to come and sit for her. And I was available because I had just come to be in England. I felt that she had something in mind, a particular look. She adorned me with little trinkets, earrings, a necklace, and she draped a sort of scarf over my head. I always wondered whether Rembrandt was maybe a bit in the background, maybe because I was a Dutch relative. She thought of that. I don't know.
When my father became the Dean of Canterbury in 1976, he asked Marie-Louise, Pete's, if she would paint his portrait. And she said yes, but she said that he mustn't ask her to do anything particular. She would do what she wanted. She always did anyway, but that was the answer. And she said, "I've painted you like a rabbi." He's half Jewish. And she said, "You might be the Dean of Canterbury, but you're still a Jewish boy." It's going all the way back to this Jewish Viennese heritage. She had a great sort of emotional acuity about the person she was seeing in front of her.
Und eigentlich gibt es doch nichts, was man einem so zufrieden machen kann, wie wenn man sich denkt, das ist mir gelungen.
Marie-Louise basically lived with her mother all her life. Her father had died when she was only 3, so the mother was her main carer. That swapped, of course, when Henriette got elderly and they moved in together, so Marie-Louise became her main carer. She also tried to find a way of combining her duties of care with being an artist, so she took her mother as her favorite subject.
Sie immer gewusst hat, wenn ich Pinsel in der Hand habe und ins Zimmer komme, hat sie gesagt, malen. Und dann hat sie gewusst, sie wird Gesellschaft haben die nächsten Wochen. Sondern das hat mich zum Malen gebracht, nicht wahr? Schau, ich habe dich immer gesehen. Du hast schon jung keine Haare gehabt. Du hast dann dieses Toupet getragen, wie man das nennt. Aber das ist für mich nicht ein kahler Mensch. Das ist so, du bist für mich wie für einen anderen eine Sagenfigur ist. Und so finde ich es schön, nicht? Ja, hat sie gesagt.
Marie-Louise's mother was a burden, but she was also available as a model. And she made absolutely magnificent use of her mother in that sense. It was completely unself-conscious. I don't think she had any idea that she was working on a theme. That wasn't what Marie-Louise was doing. It was that she couldn't escape from this responsibility, but she did it with wonderful love.
When her mother died, aged 96 in 1978, that hit Marie-Louise von Motesiczky really badly. So she resorted to painting. One painting in particular, called The Greenhouse, is a tribute to her mother, to the garden in Hampstead, which she loved.
Visiting her in Chesterford Gardens was always an event. What you saw when you came and you had tea from Lucy Ree cups around the kitchen table was Middle Europe. You saw Vienna there in Hampstead. You also saw someone who had found a way of being an independent, single woman, making her own way in the world by filling the house with lodgers who would provide company and rent and often be models for her pictures. And then also all the strays and waifs and people who she seemed to love, sort of bringing along with her into her life.
I had a room with windows looking onto the garden where she would sometimes go. But really it was a place where flowers were growing that she would harvest and use in still lives.
Dass das sich verbindet, da muss einem sozusagen der liebe Gott helfen oder sonst wer. Das geht dann, wird dann fast ein unbewusster Prozess. Das kann man sich nicht bewusst vornehmen, dass diese kleinen Punkte da aufhören, sondern das ist ein wunderbarer Zustand beim Malen.
She abhorred abstraction and stuck to realism and figurative art, which wasn't fashionable. So she developed independent of current trends, doing what she believed in. Although Marie-Louise von Motesiczky had various solo and group exhibitions over the decades, artistic recognition in general failed to appear until 1985, when she had a solo exhibition at the Goethe Institute in London.
From the moment that I met her, she chose to involve me in the preparations for her exhibition. I was quite inexperienced, and I think it really suited her to speak to people who were not at the top of the profession. She liked the opinions of outsiders and young people, and indeed I was not the only young lodger living in her house.
In 1994, she had a final major success in her hometown, when the Österreichische Galerie in Belvedere, one of the major exhibition spaces in the capital, showed a solo exhibition, and which was also fantastically well received, and she was recognized as one of the most important Austrian painters of the 20th century.
If you want to have a model of someone who is generous about the world, about people, about encounters, who is unconstrained in their relationships with the world and with people, and who takes art seriously, you look at her paintings and you think about her, and you are filled, I think, with huge respect, and for me, happiness and love.